Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host. We talk U-Pike women's basketball, joined by the head coach of our University of Pikeville women's team, Joanna McNamee. And first things first, I trust you had a great Thanksgiving holiday.
I did.
And the ladies.
They did.
And they got right back to work.
We did.
A short Thanksgiving holiday. Talk about the girls' schedule over the Thanksgiving holiday for those that are just tuned in.
Well, what we did was Tuesday morning we had an early morning practice so they could get out right after their classes since they were off from school Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The problem was we had a game on Saturday, so I had to bring them back Friday evening for an evening practice.
Probably their first back-to-back days off since October.
Probably. Yeah, I think, there might have been one time when we didn't have the gym for a couple of days, but yeah, it probably was when they actually, I think a lot of them, I know our two transfers, that was the first time they got to actually go home to see their family since the start of school. So that was nice for them. Yeah, you got to get to go home when you're that age and
you get
enjoy
that sound
family.
of the coach out of your ears for a couple of days at least.
Sure.
Did you call any of the players during the Thanksgiving break?
No.
See, I think I would have.
You would have?
I think I would have called every day, each day, the 2 days they have off, just to remind them of the sound, hey, I'm still coach, and you'll be back Friday.
Yeah. No, I didn't.
Have you been out running today?
Yeah, right. I should have done that.
Yeah.
Not hindsight, next year.
But coaches and players need a little break.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a couple of days. Recharge the batteries somewhat. You come back over the Thanksgiving break and you travel to Union on Saturday. We're going to talk about that coming up in just a little bit. And then last night you traveled to Wise, and Wise, of course, making the transition to Division II.
Right.
NCAA, and they've had a strong basketball program over the last several years. Another hard-fought matchup for the U-Pike women. You go 1-1 over the course of the week. Still can't get over the hump. Had a lead late in the game last night against Wise.
No, yeah. Last night was a disappointing game. I'm not sure why we didn't click better in the game. I thought, not to take anything away from UVA Wise or their win, but I thought we should have had that one.
Sure.
So it was a disappointing game.
But as you look at the schedule, and I know you are a winner, you don't look at losses kindly, but as you look at the scores in the games that you have lost, you're in games. You're not getting blown out.
No, we're definitely not getting blown out, but last night I feel like was one of those games that maybe we could have had a blowout go our way.
Sure. If
we would have played the way we know how to play. And sometimes I see flashes of a really good basketball team out of our team in practice. I'll see these flashes even as individual players where I'm like, wow. But I don't know yet how to get it to come out every night for 40 minutes. And that's what we have to put that together at some point.
Well, that's what coaches all over the country for all of basketball history have been trying to do, and it doesn't happen overnight. First-year coach, new program. How much is your program instituted in this team?
It's funny. We actually watched film today of last night's game, and I felt like we made up our own transition game. We actually didn't even run what we've been running from day one, and it was a little frustrating. And I pointed that out to him, and hopefully tomorrow in practice we get to work really hard and correct that, because last night I didn't feel like it was my brand of basketball out there playing. I felt like it was a slowed-down version of a boring team that I don't want to really be a part of.
Right.
So it was frustrating.
Yeah, and that's a transition with a first-year coach, with returning players who have been in another system, good, bad, indifferent, whatever the case may be. They've played in another system, and it takes time.
Right.
And sometimes all of us, fans, especially coaches, get a little impatient that our system isn't fully implemented.
Right, right. I mean, my parents would always say patience is a virtue, and I wasn't a kid that was blessed with it. So.
Right. So you heard that a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, I did too. And that's a type A personality, and a lot of coaches end up with that missing virtue of patience. They want things now, and they want things turned around now. 2-5. 1-1 since the Thanksgiving holiday, and of course you've got several more games coming up before the Christmas break. Players in preparation for finals week right now?
Yes.
How does that change your practice schedule?
It makes it kind of a little bit better in a sense because we can go a little earlier and go around their finals. Tomorrow is a study day for them, so we're going to get to practice in them like from 10 to 12, and then they'll have all evening to study. And then the same thing the next day. We will probably only go an hour and a half because of the finals. But where it gets hard on them is that they're staying up probably half the night. Sure. And I've been there. I still remember finals week and what a grueling week that is for you as a student athlete. Sure. So I know in practice I got to somehow demand their all, but I don't know if I'm going to necessarily get it.
Right. Coach Joanna McNamee, head coach of the University of Pikeville women's team, 2-5, coming off a win over Union College, then a heartbreaking loss to UVA Wise. We'll talk about those games, and we'll take a visit to the Bears Den, and we'll talk with Courtney Haney of the UPike women's team. Coming up, it's the Joanna McNamee Show. We talk UPike women's basketball, and we'll be back right after this. Welcome back in the Joanna McNamee Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. I'm Andrew Joyce, joined by the head coach of the UPike women's team, Joanna McNamee. And Coach, let's step back to Saturday following Thanksgiving on the road at Barbersville, coming off a Thanksgiving holiday. I think any coach with the players having a couple of days off, short prep time, and then you head on a road trip. Not a long road trip, but still a road trip nonetheless. You had to be concerned how your team would come out and play. What were your thoughts coming off the win over Union, 80-78?
No, we were excited. It was a fun ending, that game. Brogan Conley hit a 3-point shot to put us up 2 with just 5 seconds left. So that was exciting, and I thought as a team we really supported each other, and there was a lot of momentum coming off of it. And maybe even that's why last night was that much more disappointing, because it was fun. I thought Union has a pretty good team, and to go to their place and play well was a good thing.
Of course, Union, a team that has been around somewhat, some good play. Our guest tonight, Courtney Haney, 9 points and also had 8 rebounds in the win over Union. We'll talk to Courtney Haney in just a little bit, but you come off a win off a holiday and a win over Union. You go to Wise. You have to be feeling good. And then, as we've already touched on, you led the game late. Wise goes on a 12-0 run in the final 5 minutes of the game, and they rally to get the win. You've talked about your frustration. What happened? You say your team wasn't playing Joanna McNamee basketball, and I know you look at film and you search and
right.
You try to find what went wrong from Saturday to Monday. Have you found the answer yet?
I guess no. With the film itself, when we watched it, we kind of went away from our game plan when we were trying to play the up-tempo defense, which is, jumping in the ball, denying one pass away. We just went away from that. We really, I don't know if it was a fatigue setting in from maybe eating a bunch of turkey and having a game and then just one day of a prep in between another game. But we looked so sluggish. We started out the game sluggish.
Sure.
But, we went on little spurts. But like I said, player for player, I thought that game should have been ours. So the spurts weren't surprising. It was the sluggish spurts where they were coming back and getting a 1 or 2 point lead on us that was surprising to me. And I couldn't really get us as a whole to buy into just going hard. And I think mentally they thought they were going hard, but they just really weren't. And we watched the film today all together as a team, and I hope that they got something out of it, and that, wow, why we didn't realize we looked quite like that.
Sure.
Because it was that kind of game where, shockingly, we could, and never blame a game on officials, but the officiating was rough. But I thought it was rough both ways.
Right.
But you know, we went in that second half. 15-5 was the foul count, and that's sometimes hard to overcome.
Sure, it gets in players' heads.
Right.
And it's something we've talked about. When Joanna McNamee says rough officiating, what do you mean when you say that? We're still trying to learn your vernacular as well.
I try never ever to complain about
Sure.
officiating, but it was, you know, watching the film made it even harder today because it just builds up that frustration even more. You know, there was one point where they called a backcourt call, and we weren't even within 3 foot of backcourt.
Right.
Very odd call. We had an offense, and these are all like in the crucial parts of the game. We had a Candace Porter posted up, and they called an offensive foul on her. And again, watching on film, she just looked like she posted up. There wasn't even a hook or a.
Right.
And then I guess the nail in the coffin was the 6th straight foul in a row they called on us. It was a 6-0 foul count. A girl got an offensive rebound in the middle, or defensive rebound in the middle of the paint, and Brogan Conley kind of went to grab it from her, and she threw an elbow at her, and and Brogan stepped back, and they called the foul on Brogan.
Wow.
And that's when I kind of went off on my, and again, not even yelling, just telling, and there was only about 10 people in the gym.
Right.
So you could hear a pin drop. And you know, I told the officials, hey, you know, the foul count is 12-5 right now. And I said, that should have been an offensive foul. And she said, Coach, that's enough. And I should have stopped, but you know, my assistant said, hey, actually the count's 15-5. I said, actually the count's 15-5, and she gave me technical.
Yeah.
That's about how loud I said it. She was standing about me to 12 feet away, and I've never seen an official. I've been coaching forever, playing forever. I've never seen an official give a coach a technical foul like that in my life.
So you didn't earn it?
No.
No.
No, and I believe me, there are times you can try to earn one.
Sure. Absolutely.
And it wasn't even, it was a crucial, you know, we're down 4 with 1:40 left. And that's just a bad call.
I think a coach, a fan, a broadcaster never wants to blame a game on officials. But we've all seen bad calls, and if you will talk to officials off the court, they will tell you they've missed calls. They had a bad game. They will admit to it off the court, and that's part of the game. It's a human part of the game that's always going to be there.
Right.
But at the same time, when you have a game where maybe an official or an entire crew is having a bad night, and they do, just as broadcasters have bad nights, and whatever the case may be, players may have a bad night, it gets in players' heads. Because whether they know the foul count was 15 or 5 or not, they know that it's unbalanced.
Right, and I think, and that's the one thing that I point out to my players, and I'll say it a million times over, we shouldn't have been in a situation where we let the refs make a difference in the game.
Exactly.
Because we were a good enough team, or in my opinion, the better team, where it shouldn't have even remotely come down to that.
Right. The mood of the team, you get a win Saturday, excited, good road trip back, and then you go to Wise, you've got a short drive back to Pikeville. In the locker room, in practice today, on the drive back, can you read the mood of this team yet? Are they upset about a loss like that? Do they take it and move on? Do they put it behind them? How do they respond to losses?
I'm still trying to get to know the team
Sure.
with that. We, unfortunately, because of lack of gym, didn't get to have practice today. So we watched the film, and the mentality in film session was down, which film is never good to have to watch a film of a loss, a disappointing loss. So it was down, but we'll see tomorrow how we respond. And I hope, they come back with hungry. And that's what, as a coach, that's what all you can ask, is that they come back ready to work hard and practice to the best of their ability. But we'll see. I'm still trying to get to know them a little bit too.
Yeah. Just as we're trying to learn the coach about what it means when officials are rough, and how far she's gone to get a technical. 15-5, correcting the foul count,
and not even raising my voice.
I don't think that's justified.
No, and not even the whole. And it wasn't like it was a. It wasn't bad banter the whole game.
Right.
I really didn't say much at all the whole game. So it was. I think it was maybe even I don't even know. the officials getting in their own heads. I'm not sure.
Sometimes the truth hurts.
Yeah.
Sometimes officials, the truth hurts.
Right.
They realized, ooh, that's 3-1. That's tough. And that is rough officiating. It does get in the players' heads. And the official said, the U-Pike women, playing well. The record doesn't show it necessarily right now. 2-5, ready to make that turn and head toward the rest of the season. We're going to put the loss to Wise behind us. We'll talk with Coach Joanna McNamee again and get a scout and talk about some upcoming games. When we come back, we'll step into the Bears Den. We'll talk with Courtney Haney next. You're tuned to the Joanna McNamee Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. Welcome back in. It's the Joanna McNamee Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. We talk U-Pike women's basketball every Tuesday evening at this time. The U-Pike women 2-5 after a heartbreaking loss last night on the road at UVA Wise. And we'll talk with the coach again in just a few moments about some upcoming games. And as the Bears women's team comes out of finals week, preparing for the Christmas break. Of course, that will change the practice schedule for the U-Pike women. We'll talk about the practice schedule and the time demands of the U-Pike women's program. Now we step into the Bears Den. Courtney Haney, our guest on this edition of the Joanna McNamee Show. And Courtney, welcome in.
Thanks.
Of course, we talk about players. We talk about what goes on the court. During the Joanna McNamee Show, we talk about the student athlete. So we're going to talk about what goes on the court, in the locker room, where you came from, when you started playing basketball, those things. But first, let's talk about the student, Courtney Haney. What's your major and what do you plan to do in the future?
So I'm majoring in psychology and I'm minoring in art. I want to do art therapy down the road. It's like you work with people, I want to work with like young women and like older women and help them use art as a way of like communicating, and you like sit there with somebody and you do art with them, and you're not necessarily teaching them art, you're just like doing it with them, and then like it's kind of a way of communicating without talking. Like you read the symbols and the artwork and you kind of get to know like what's going on psychologically with the person.
Sure. It's an interesting field,
yeah.
A very deep subject. It's not accounting where it's all about black and white numbers, red and black, but a very deep subject. What sparked your interest in that field?
Well, I didn't really know that I was capable of doing good art and art well until I got into here at Pikeville. I took an art class, a basic drawing, and
sure.
I fell in love with it. Like I realized I was actually really good. I kind of surprised myself. So it'd be nice to do that and be able to do artwork on the side as well and sell artwork and use my creative ability to help other people.
So it didn't hit until you got to Pikeville?
No, not at all. I used to go, I attended UK for a year and a half, and I majored in equine science at UK.
Right.
And UK is just, there's a lot of distractions. It's a really big school, sure. And there was so much, like I was working too, and you know, my grades started like declining, so I had to make a change. And my sister plays basketball here, Kristen Haney,
right.
And she was here a semester before me, and decided I needed that structure back in my life. So I called up Coach Bill Watson at the time and asked him if I could come down and try to practice with the team and see how it went. And I got, like, he wanted me, so not too long after I came.
All right, let's talk about your basketball career. When did you first play organized basketball?
I was young. My whole family, they're big basketball players.
Sure.
My uncle, Danny Haney, used to coach at Lexington Catholic. I'm from Lexington, so and so I grew up around it. I probably had a basketball in my hand when I was walking, and then when I could finally reach the goal and I stopped shooting, like I used to scoop the ball under and shoot it, and
sure.
Playing with like my cousin used to coach us and stuff. So I was really young, probably like 6 when I actually started playing.
Been playing it all your life. And where'd you play your high school ball?
Paul Lawrence Dunbar.
And Lexington, very competitive, girls basketball.
It really is. My sophomore year, we went 32-2. We had a phenomenal team. We should have won state, but we got
sure.
beat by Henry Clay. But just my entire time at Dunbar, we were like in a really, really good area playing bowl and stuff. It was really competitive.
Took some time off when you went to UK. How difficult was it to transition back to playing competitive basketball after being out of high school and going to class and working and just being away from the game and then playing competitively again? How long did it take for Courtney Haney to get back to the basketball player?
It was pretty tough. On my free time when I was at UK, I used to go to we called them the blue courts. It was 4 courts outside by the Johnson Center, and I used to play with the guys a lot. I'd probably do it once or twice a week, and that was really fun. But they're really soft. They don't ever try to foul you or anything. Right. So coming to play college basketball was a huge transition with the physicality that you have just in everyday practice. That was probably the hardest for me, was gaining that mental toughness to kind of push people around a little bit and not get hurt and stuff at practice. So it took a little while to get me a little bit tougher to be able to handle, boxing out hard, and it's just a whole new level of the physicality when you go to college.
Absolutely, and of course, coming off a big game at Union, 9 points, 8 rebounds, those type of numbers I think Coach Joanna McNamee is looking for nightly from Courtney Haney. Are you at the point to where Courtney Haney can average a double-double now?
Well, that would be amazing if I was capable of doing that. I really am just trying to get my whole, figure out my whole role in the team. I think I do a really good job of playing really hard on defense. That's what I bring to the table, is my hard work. So I'm really working on being able to, I'm getting more confident offensively, and I'm trying to be able to, finish all my layups and do a great job offensively. At first it was play really hard defense, and then hopefully offense will come. Sure. So now it's I'm trying to be able to, that confidence is getting there, and I just want to be able to, be able to contribute offensively as well. So. And
you're an Energizer Bunny. All energy, 100 miles an hour all the time when you're on the court.
Yeah, it's kind of reining in that energy that would help me in playing. It's just to be able to calm down and relax before I shoot a shot and not think 100,000 miles a minute and just play ball. That's the main thing. I try to shake off everything and just play rather than think everything through too much.
But that's your rep. You play hard. You give it everything you've got. And sometimes in athletes it is slowing down, particularly those type of athletes that go hard all the time, is slowing the game down in their head to where they can control things. But you play hard, and that's not a bad thing. That's a good reputation to have. Courtney Haney, I want to step back to art just a moment. What type of works do you have out there?
Well, what's really neat about this school, it being such a small environment, and community environment, my teacher, I know my teachers really well, and they kind of, every class that I've taken in art has challenged me to do things that I wouldn't normally do. I took a jewelry making class last year, and it was really enjoyable. I got to make jewelry with wire and things. I really like doing that, but pretty good at drawing, and I'm taking a painting class next semester, so I haven't gotten too much into painting, but drawing and using pastels, and I like drawing animals and things. So
you're a doodler. So what we should have done for tonight's show is laid just some art paper out, maybe some charcoal, some pencils, and just let you doodle while the show went on.
What if I doodle when I'm talking on my cell phone? So.
Right, exactly. And I would imagine it would probably be amazing. We'll await your first showing of your artwork, and I think it's admirable that you want to take that talent and use it to help people that maybe don't have another way to communicate openly. Definitely. And I think the art therapy certainly would do that. Psychology, obviously, most of us in broadcasting need a good psychologist. It's an admirable profession. The mood around the U-Pike women's team, you were around in the previous program under Coach Bill Watson. Now Joanna McNamee, off to a 2-5 start. Obviously, you'd love to be 7-0. But how does the team feel about this year's squad? Talking with Coach, this team's not getting blown out. They're competitive. They're in games and just can't get over that hump. What's the mood around the locker room and around the other players?
Well, after the loss the other night, it hasn't, everybody's been kind of down about it, but we were definitely really excited after the win at Union. It's just the whole team this year, it's more of a, I just feel like we're in more of a team environment. All of our teammates are bonding better and it's really nice to have a coach that you really enjoy your company, and you know, it's a really fun environment. Like, you know, finals are going on right now, and crazy stressed out. Yet I step on the basketball court and I'm able to like use that energy and be able to like let go of a little steam and stress when I'm playing. So it helps out. But everybody's, I think everybody's like really happy with each other, and like we're coming closer together. And I just wish we could pull some wins together and, you know, string some together so we can stay happy and not get down about like the loss last game.
Hope no more. Saturday, West Virginia Tech. Let's get one then. The next W comes Saturday.
Yeah.
Courtney Haney, we're looking for a double-double to you. No pressure, okay?
All right.
We're going to get finals out of the way. Double-double Saturday against West Virginia Tech. We're going to see that average there after the 1st of January. If it doesn't happen, that's all right. Just keep playing hard. Yeah. Thanks for being our guest.
Thank you.
Courtney Haney, our guest on the Joanna McNamee Show. We talked U-Pike women's basketball. They are back in action Saturday. We'll talk with Coach Joanna McNamee. That game at the Expo Center, and we'd love to see a big crowd there for Saturday's tip-off as the U-Pike women are in action. We'll return with Coach Joanna McNamee after this. It's presented by Appalachian Wireless. Welcome back in. The Joanna McNamee Show, presented by Appalachian Wireless. I'm Andrew Joyce, rejoined by the head coach of the University of Pikeville women's basketball team. Joanna McNamee, love meeting the student athletes off the court because we see a different side of them, and they have plans. They have futures in front of them, and it will be a rarity if one ever plays at the next level. So seeing what their future's all about, it's not about basketball. Basketball's a means to get there.
Right.
But amazing when we talk to the student athletes to see that they do have things together. They much more so than some of the people that I encounter in real life that are supposedly adults. But these student athletes, they've got it together. They know what they want to do and going to make a positive impact in the world once they leave the U-Pike program and campus.
Absolutely.
Great representative of the U-Pike women's team, and I put a little pressure on her. We're looking for a double-double average.
That is pressure.
Does that work for you?
It works for me.
But I think any coach, any player that is a go-getter, that plays hard, I think that's a goal that should strive for. Courtney Haney can get it done.
That's right. I'll tell you what she does too is, you know, last game she took she takes 2 charges, I think, every game she plays.
Right.
You know, she gets those critical hustle, you know, fires everybody up on the court, and, you know, double-double would be great, but, you know, she doesn't even need to score for us to be out, and she's proved that. She just needs to be out there being herself and going hard, and you hit the nail on the head. That's why she plays. Right. Because she plays hard. Yeah.
A coach's dream, you talk to a coach, no matter what the sport, they want someone that's going to play with passion.
Right.
And play like they want to be on the court. You've got one of those. Next matchup coming up this Saturday, not at the Expo Center, but at the U-Pike Gym on the lower campus. We go back to the gym, West Virginia Tech in town, to take on your U-Pike women. What do you know about West Virginia Tech?
Again, you know, not on wood, but I think it's a game that is very winnable. We have to really get back to, you know, we can't. You know, we took a baby step back last night. We have to now take 2 steps forward and come out with a lot of confidence and play hard and play our game. And, you know, I think it's a good game where we can get a win.
And you have 4 more games coming up this Saturday,
I mean, it's
then
almost
Thursday,
crazy.
Saturday, before the Christmas break. Chance to implement your program further before the players go home for Christmas.
Right, because we're giving them 10 days off for Christmas, so it gives us a chance to really, you know, play a lot and have some fun. As a player, you know, you can't beat playing games. I mean, everybody wants to play a game over have a bunch of practice. Right. So I think it will hopefully be a fun way to end the semester, and, you know, we're looking forward to possibly getting our 2 transfers. The grades can post quick enough, and we can get the NAIA to turn it around. that they can be eligible maybe for those last couple games.
Right. And of course, changes in the small college program, they happen at the Christmas break. Sometimes you see additions to rosters, and that certainly will change. Finals wraps up. How does that change practice time for the U-Pike women's team? Yeah, you've got some games mixed in there too. Will you get an opportunity to spend more time in practice?
Well, we will. It's like you said, we pretty much play. Then we have one day that we don't, and then we play again. So we won't have a ton of practice time. But then when they come back from the break, we'll have at least 2 days to have 2 days where we really get them back going, and hopefully we can get them thinking about those 2 days for them to be somewhat enjoyable. They have to do something over that 10 days they go home.
Sure. Let's get win number 3 Saturday.
Yes.
U-Pike Gym Saturday, and that is a 2 p.m. tip-off.
2 p.m.
We want to invite everyone to encourage you to be at the U-Pike Gym, the lower campus, this Saturday, 2 p.m. tip-off. The U-Pike women take on West Virginia Tech, and we'll be there. Coach Joanna McNamee.
I was going to say, I think admission is free at the U-Pike Gym as well.
There you go.
So we'd love to have as many people out there.
No excuse for not being there. Come on down, check out the U-Pike women's team. They deserve your support. Coach Joanna McNamee, best of luck Saturday. We'll see you again next week.
Thank you.
Coach Joanna McNamee, head coach of the U-Pike women's basketball team, as they take on West Virginia Tech Saturday, 2 p.m. tip-off. We'll be there and have complete coverage on PikeTV.com. On behalf of Joanna McNamee and Courtney Haney, our guest in the Bears Den tonight, I'm Andrew Joyce. Thanks for tuning in. The Joanna McNamee Show is presented by Appalachian Wireless.